Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, 10th chapter, Opulence of the Absolute, text 17, page 461. Maybe different. Text 17, 1017, 461. Katam vijam aham yogin tvam sada parichintaya keshu keshu cha bhaveshu Indyo asi Bhagavan Maya. Word for word. Katam, how. Vidyam, aham, shall I know. Yogin, a supreme mystic. Tvam, you. Sada, always. Parichintayam, thinking of. Keshu, in which. Keshu, in which. Cha, also. Bhaveshu, natures. Yuntraya, asi, are you to be remembered. Bhagavan, O Supreme, Maya, by me. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? What various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality Godhead? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As stated in previous chapter, Supreme Personality Godhead is covered by His Yoga Maya. Only surrendered souls and devotees can see Him. Now Arjuna is convinced that his friend Krishna is the Supreme Godhead, but he wants to know the general process by which the all-pervading Lord can be understood by the common men. Common men, including the demons and atheists, cannot know Krishna because he's guarded by his Yogamaya energy. Again, these questions are asked by Arjuna for their benefit. The senior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for the understanding of all mankind. So Arjuna, out of his mercy, for the understanding of all mankind. So Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he is a Vaishnava, a devotee, is opening for the common man the understanding of the all-pervasiveness of the Supreme Lord. He addresses Krishna specifically as Yogin, because Sri Krishna is the master of Yoga Maya energy, by which he is covered and uncovered to the common man. The common man who has no love for Krishna cannot always think of Krishna. Therefore, he has to think materially. Arjuna is considered the mode. Arjuna is considering the mode of thinking of the materialistic persons of this world. The word Keshu Keshu, Cha Bhaveshu refers to material nature. The word Bhava, not Bhava, means physical things. Because materialists cannot understand Krishna spiritually, they advise to concentrate the mind on the physical things and try to see how Krishna is manifested by physical representation. Can you close this window? Can you close the window? Too much hot air. Text number 18 says, O Janardhan, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulence. I never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Omaryanturandasya janajana sakaya sakshunimitam jena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya manobhistam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam nanti swapadantikam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? What various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? Does this sound okay? Too much feedback, or is it okay? So there's a 10th chapter, text 12 to 18. Arjuna is making requests from Krishna and making acceptance of those requests. So Arjuna is asking this question not only for himself, but for the common man. Arjuna wants more information. Krishna already gave information, and 10.7 he said, one who factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine, engaged in unalloyed devotion service, of this there's no doubt. So, and in the 9th chapter, Krishna says, Mamana Mam Bharato Mamad Imam Namaskaru, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer obeisance unto me. So over and over again, Krishna is telling us that it's important that we think of him. As per 9 process of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. Smaranam means remembering. So by chanting the holy name, which is Krishna Chaitanya Rasa, Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Krishna said, what's that? Krishna says that he's non-different than his name. So, when we're chanting the holy name of Krishna, the Maha Mantra, we're also remembering Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. So in the immature stage, we just should concentrate on hearing the holy name. When one becomes advanced devotee, when he chants the holy name, he can see Krishna's pastimes, form, qualities, pastimes, and automatically. But someone devotee told Prabhupada we were thinking of Krishna's pastimes when they was chanting. Prabhupada didn't think that was still wasn't pleased by that because it was artificial. So artificially we can't do things artificially, but we should try to control our mind. When we're chanting japa, the mind tends to wander because the mind is chanchalam and flickering, unsteady, and it's always going here and there. We were present when we're thinking of Krishna. We're thinking of the past, we're thinking of the present, and we're thinking of the future. This door. Looks like Indra's angry tonight. We're having a storm. Unexpected. Out of season. So, thinking of Krishna is not possible for the common man because it says in Nectar Devotion, Ta Shri Krishna Namabhed Indriyani Seme Mukha Jivado Swayam Eva Sprantiyada. Krishna's form, qualities, pastimes are all on the absolute platform. The material senses cannot therefore appreciate them. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. So this is why common man cannot understand Krishna, and the all over the world, even 500 years ago, there were common men. And nowadays, the common men are the most sinful men. They take intoxication, they gamble, have illicit sex, and eat meat, fish, and eggs. They eat anything and everything. This is a common man. So we have to dealing with a very difficult thing to implant Krishna consciousness in such a world, such a society. But Srila Prabhupada was inspired by his spiritual master. In the very beginning, meeting his spiritual master in 1922, the spiritual master ordered him, he said, "You're a young man, you should preach the message of Lord Chaitanya all over in the English-speaking world." So Srila Prabhupada was a little shocked that a man who never met him, he never met before, would give him such an instruction. Actually, Prabhupada didn't even want to go see Bhaktisiddhanta, but his friend somehow convinced him, because Prabhupada had seen so many sadhus come to his father's house. His father had the habit of feeding not less than 5 sadhus every day. So he saw many sadhus who weren't really sadhus, but they were dressed like sadhus, and they couldn't give any real spiritual understanding. So Prabhupada didn't want to go see Bhaktisiddhanta, but his friend convinced him that this was a different kind of sadhu. So in their first meeting, Bhaktisiddhanta told Prabhupada that you should go and preach this message of Lord Chaitanya in the English-speaking world. Of course, Prabhupada took that message to heart, and when his friend asked him about Bhaktisiddhanta, what he thought about him, he said he was a Vaikuntha man. So Prabhupada was impressed by Bhaktisiddhanta, and later, after 11 years, he took initiation from Bhaktisiddhanta and spent his whole life preparing to go to the West and preach Krishna consciousness. And it was a difficult task, because the common men, he went to America, the common men, they never heard of Krishna, and they were, here it says, the common men, some of them are atheists and some of them are demons. So the atheists, they say there's no God. They say God is dead, or God is living in somewhere in South America. But a lot of people don't believe in God nowadays. In the 60s, 70s, every family in America had some kind of religion, religious affiliation, and had some kind of understanding about God. But gradually, as Kali Yuga is progressing, the morals and activities of people are becoming more and more degraded. And the more the meat eating is going on, it blocks one's intelligence. People come to the conclusion there is no God. Many times people would come to Prabhupada and say, "Can you show me God?" But God is not a cheap thing. God, Krishna reserves the right to be known. And so Prabhupada said, well, I can show you God, but will you believe that? Believe me. He said, we know who God is, but it's not God does not reveal himself to sinful people. He doesn't reveal himself so easily. He's not a cheating God. Many people claim to be God, they have many followers, but they're cheating gods, Kaitava Dharma. When Lord Chaitanya was in Vrindavan, he was going into ecstasy, so he jumped in the Yamuna. They had to rescue him. So they didn't want to keep him in Vrindavan. So they decided to take him to Prayag, Allahabad. And on the way there, Lord Chaitanya went into trance, ecstatic love, fell unconscious. Then 10 Patana soldiers, Turkish soldiers, came riding up on their horses and arrested Lord Chaitanya's servants. He had 4 servants then, 2 Bengalis, 2 from North India. So they accused Lord Chaitanya's servants of giving him a drug, datura, and killing him, and then taking all his possessions. But they said, no, we're the servant of this man, and he has epilepsy. Sometimes he falls unconscious. So you just wait some time here, and when he regains consciousness, you'll understand the real truth. So they did wait. Lord Chaitanya became external consciousness, and they said that these 4 men are rogues. They stole all your possessions and wanted to kill you. But Lord Chaitanya said, I'm a sannyasi, and I don't possess anything. And these 4 men are not rogues, they're my associates. But there was one man there who was wearing black, and he was a Sufi, or Muslim, and he wanted to establish the impersonal feature of the Lord from the Koran. So he had a conversation with Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya pointed out that the Koran does say that God is a person and that devotional service is the way to understand Him. So even though he was supposed to be a saintly person, he couldn't understand his own scripture. And he admitted that to Lord Chaitanya, that I was reading the Quran, but I couldn't get that meaning. And Lord Chaitanya converted all 10 of them into Vaishnavas. So, some common men become leaders, spiritual leaders, priests, rabbis, whatever, and are respected by ordinary people. But they can't really implant love of God in anyone's heart. One time I went to see one doctor, and he was saying to me that your spiritual master is an ordinary man. So I don't know how he came to that conclusion. He was envious, but it's a third offense to consider that the spiritual master to be an ordinary man, to not follow the instructions of the spiritual master, consider him an ordinary man. The third offense in chanting the holy name. And what's the use of taking a spiritual master if he's an ordinary man? Then he can't do anything for you. He may be able to facilitate your sense gratification and facilitate your economic development and sense gratification, but he can't really give you anything concerning spiritual life. So that's the problem. People go to church, they go to the Catholic Church once a week, and they make confession to the priest, who's supposed to be celibate and respected by everyone, and they make their confession that I did this sinful activity, I did this and that all week. So the priest hears them, but he doesn't say, well, now you should stop that. He just says, okay, fine. And most of the time the priest is also doing sinful activities. So it's not much, let's say, like the bathing with an elephant, Praishchitya, where the elephant takes a nice bath. As soon as he comes out of the water, he puts sand all over his body. So that's what they're doing in the name of religion. But Srila Prabhupada wasn't like that. He started the movement very slowly. He thought, let the young boys and girls get a taste for the holy name. So we'd go to Thompson Square Park. Prabhupada was in New York. He got the place on 2nd Avenue, apartment and storefront. And every day we'd go to Thompson Square Park and chant for 3 hours the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In this way, he attracted some special souls who were a little pious. But they were also sinful. They were drug addicts and addicted to smoking cigarettes and eating meat and doing all kinds of things. So Prabhupada didn't tell them immediately to stop everything. He let them chant a while. Then he decided to have the first initiation. So before the first initiation, he posted on the door 4 regulated principles: no meeting, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. So when they saw that, they were a little shocked, because they didn't expect that initiation would be they'd have to be so strict. But Prabhupada wasn't compromising. Prabhupada said, some people told Prabhupada, when you go to America, you're going to have to wear a pants, shirt, tie, eat with knife, fork, and spoon. And Prabhupada said, no, I'm not going there to learn from them. I'm going there to teach them. So when Prabhupada went to America, he didn't compromise on the principles. He told his fledgling disciples that now you take an initiation, you have to promise these 4 things. No meeting, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. So, this is the way Prabhupada started the movement. Other people gradually came forward to get initiated. And then he started from New York, he went to San Francisco, then Montreal, then London, and gradually all over the world he opened centers, opening temples with the same policy. And Prabhupada wrote many letters, like 700 letters. People would write letters to Prabhupada. And if you read those letters, Prabhupada always emphasizes that his students, that now you should keep yourself spiritually fit, chant 16 rounds every day, and follow the regulated principles. He never compromised with anyone. So, he said, Prabhupada said, I could have had millions of followers. Other yogis, gurus went to America, became very popular, made millions of dollars, had many millions of followers, had many women sannyasis to enjoy with. But Prabhupada wasn't like that. Prabhupada didn't want quantity followers, he wanted quality followers. So this is the difference between the Hare Krishna movement and other spiritual organizations. And they sent the CIA agents to the LA temple to pretend to be new bhaktas to want to join the movement, investigate what we're doing. And this also happened in India. No, well, it happened in some other country. That's in South Africa. They sent the local police to investigate. So the CIA agents couldn't believe that our program was so strict that we wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do so many things. So they couldn't do that, but they could understand that we were a genuine movement. And in South Africa, the police came as spies to, they reported that we're nice people and that the government shouldn't bother us because they were always harassing us. And same thing all over the world, because we were something new, something that no one had seen before. People with shaved heads and bed sheets and tilak and sika. It's something that was not known or common to anyone except for people in India. People in India see a devotee with a shaved head, sika, and tilak. They're not surprised. They know this person's a devotee of Krishna. But the rest of the world, they didn't know. So, Arjuna is asking these questions so Krishna can tell us about some of his opulences, about for the common man, because the Vaishnava has compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. It says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that the Vaishnava is Paradukha Dukhi, Bhart Bhumate Hoy, Minushima Jamajara, Jamasatakara, Para Upakara. That the devotee persons, especially those born in India, should perfect their lives and go all over the world and preach Krishna consciousness. Para Upakara, do good for others. So we know Haridas Thakur and Advaita Acharya were feeling compassion for the fallen souls, especially in Navadvip. Then not many of them were Vaishnavas. And the only thing they could remedy was that the Lord would come himself, personally come to deliver the fallen conditioned souls. At that time, most of the people in Navadvip were Smarta Brahmins, were demigod worshippers, were only interested in getting their daughters married and different performing rituals for sense gratification, economic development, and liberation. So Jaitacharya and Haridas Thakur, they worshipped Shalagram Shila, offered Ganges water and Tulsi leaves, and petitioned the Lord to come and appear. And that's when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 500 years ago, made his appearance in Navadvip. So the devotee has compassion. Prahlad Maharaj was also a great devotee, and he was instructed in the womb from Narada Muni, because spiritual sound vibration cannot be checked by any material circumstance. So when Prahlad Maharaj's mother was to give birth to Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu went off to some mountains, was performing austerities. So the demigods took over the kingdom of heaven, and they arrested Prahlad Maharaj's mother. And they thought that she was pregnant, she was going to give birth to another demon like Hiranyakashipu. So they wanted to wait till she delivered the child and then kill the child. But then Narada Muni came along and said, no, this is not true. The devotee and the child in this womb is a great devotee, and you will not be able to kill him even if he comes out of the womb. So you should release his mother. So they circumvented his mother, and Narada Muni took his mother to his ashram and instructed Prahlad Maharaj in the womb. And although they both heard it, his mother and Prahlad Maharaj both heard the same instructions, his mother, being a woman, forgot these instructions, but Prahlad Maharaj remembered them. So Prahlad Maharaj, from his childhood, he had compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. And he would preach to his playmates at 5 years old at tiffin hour. It's the custom or habit of people to go to work, they bring a little tiffin, a little box with some prasadam or some food in it, and they take them time off for tiffin hour. So when their teachers would go for tiffin hour, Prahlad Maharaj took that opportunity to preach to his playmates. And of course his playmates were the same as Prahlad Maharaj, born in demoniac families. And they wanted to play. 5-year-old boys are not interested to hear philosophy. They would just want to play. But Prahlad Maharaj was a very convincing, and he made them all into devotees out of his compassion. And after Hiranyakashipu was killed by Lord Nrsingadev, Prahlad Maharaj also showed his compassion, and Nrsingadev said, you can take any benediction you want. He said, will you kindly deliver my father, Hiranyakashipu. So this was his compassion. One devotee of Lord Chaitanya, his name was Vasudeva, and Lord Chaitanya was traveling in South India. This person requested Lord Chaitanya, that you please give me all the sins of all the people in the universe so they can be delivered. I'll suffer reaction for all those sins. But Lord Chaitanya said that this is not a difficult job to liberate one universe, and you don't have to suffer for all their sins. I can easily do that. He says there's millions of universes, and one universe is like a mustard seed in a bag of mustard seeds. Even if one universe is liberated, it won't be noticed very much. It's not a great accomplishment. But because he had compassion, Prabhupada wrote he had more compassion than Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ had compassion, but only for his followers. But Vasudeva had compassion for all the sinful people in the world. So this Paradukkha Dukhi. The devotee is unhappy to see the sinful condition and the suffering that people are going through in this world, especially in this modern age, where they're getting promises that they can enjoy in so many ways. Advertisements, billboards everywhere is telling them that you should have illicit sex, that you should drink alcohol. Every airport there's millions of signboards that advertising alcohol, which is the worst poison you can think of. It makes you crazy. First you drink alcohol, it burns your stomach, then it makes you crazy, then it makes you sick. But people still get addicted to it and think that they're getting some happiness by drinking alcohol. In most airlines, they serve alcohol. First thing they do on the flights is serve alcohol to people. But now Air India stopped serving alcohol to people. So people are more peaceful. When people drink alcohol, they get a little violent, or they smell bad, and they don't get any benefit from that. So, out of compassion, Srila Prabhupada also had so much compassion, and A.K. Guru Nandanan 241, that verse said with one pointed attention, he prepared his whole life by studying all the Shastra, by associating with sadhus, saintly persons, his godbrothers, gurus. He was even awarded the title Bhakti-Vedanta before he even, while he was still in India, and he was still in household life because of his scholarship. And he wrote one poem on the appearance day of Bhakti-Siddhanta, which pleased Bhakti-Siddhanta very much. And he told that they should print that in their magazine. So Prabhupada became a very expert preacher and very expert, very learned man, even before he went to America. He didn't go to America empty-handed. He went with 3 trunks of books, Srimad Bhagavatam, which he translated while he was at Radha Damodar, translated and purported, and had it printed. Miraculously, somehow he got the books printed, and he had 3 trunks of books he brought with him when he landed in the New York harbor. So he didn't have any money. When he went to America, he had 40 rupees in his pocket, which his son had given him at the boat dock in Calcutta. So 40 rupees is 1 hour spending in New York. At that time, maybe it was $8 to a rupee, but you can't spend rupees in America, so it wasn't of any value. It was just paper. But then, before he got off the boat, he sold a Bhagavatam set, 3 volumes, the first canto, to the captain of the ship, and the captain gave him $20. So that was something to, so he could at least have some spending money. But when he got off the boat, he didn't know whether to turn right or left. Here's a man, 70-year-old, wearing rubber shoes and dressed as a sannyasi, which no one knows what a sannyasi was in America. And he didn't know where to go or what to do, but he had a sponsorship from the Agarwals, who lived in Butler, Pennsylvania. They sent a man from the Traveler's Aid to assist Prabhupada, to put him on the bus so he could go to Butler, Pennsylvania. And he stayed there for a short time. Then he went to New York and went to Dr. Mizra's ashram. And there, Dr. Mizra was a Mayavadi. And he had the hodgepodge philosophy, and teaching yoga and meditation. And Prabhupada gave a couple lectures there, but after that, Dr. Mizra wouldn't let him speak. So he only stayed there, I don't know how long he stayed there, not very long. Then he moved to another place. And at the same time, he was translating and writing a manuscript on the Bhagavad-Gita. Then, because the Bhagavad-Gita is the ABCs of spiritual life. Although all the truths about spiritual life are contained in the Bhagavad-Gita. These are the basic truths, so that if people read the Bhagavad-Gita and understand even a little bit of it, they will become devotees. One devotee was distributing books, and he gave a Bhagavad-Gita to a man. The man said, "No, I'm not." He showed it to him. So he told the man, well, the man said, "I'm not interested, I don't want to buy the book." He told the man, "Well, you just touch it. You don't have to buy it, just touch it." So the man touched the Bhagavad Gita, went away, and 15 minutes later he came back and bought the Bhagavad Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita has some potency to, because it's spiritual, because Krishna is speaking the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada finally got after struggling for 1 year, he got an apartment on 2nd Avenue with a storefront and began his movement. And Prabhupada knew so many things. He knew that they had to get incorporated, but most people don't know that he had to have his society incorporated. So they got one lawyer, and Prabhupada said, "I want to call this movement International Society for Krishna Consciousness." But the lawyer said, "That's not a good name. You should call the International Society for God Consciousness." But Prabhupada objected, he said, "No, that's too vague. I want this to be called the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I want everyone to know that." So Prabhupada got the movement inaugurated, got the movement registered as a bona fide religious organization, and he also got the papers that say we were tax exempt. In America, everything you buy, they put sales tax, a small amount. So if you have that government authorization, you don't have to pay taxes, which is there available for all religious organizations. So that made us a bona fide religion. And no one could say we were a cult or a sect or something else. They wanted to lump us in with all the other manufactured so-called religious organizations at that time. But gradually it has become known that we're a bona fide religion. We're not a cult. We're a sect, a bona fide religious sect. And the Bhagavad Gita is a bona fide religious book. And in the Bhagavad Gita, sometimes people think we become Hindus, but we're not preaching Hinduism. Hinduism came about because some people were living on the Sindhu River, and the Muslims couldn't pronounce that word Sindhu, so they called them Hindu. And so they became known as Hindus. But there's no mention of Hindu in the Bhagavad Gita. If you look in the index, the word Hindu is not there. So this is not Hinduism. This is Vaishnavism. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was re-established the Vaishnava philosophy, and Bhaktisiddhanta also and the six Goswamis compiled so many books to explain the true meaning of the Vaishnava philosophy. So Arjuna wants Krishna to give the people a chance to understand Krishna by hearing about his opulences. This is also there in the 7th chapter and this chapter, and for the benefit of the common man, because everybody is suffering so much in the material world. Dukailam Shashvatam, from the highest plant down to the lowest, are places where suffering, repeated birth and death take place. So people foolishly say, I'm not suffering. You meet someone, you tell them you're suffering, they say, well, I'm not suffering. And they say, well, don't you get sick? Don't you go to take medicine? They say, yeah, but if you didn't suffer, you wouldn't be able to enjoy. So no one goes to the medical shop and says, give me some malaria, or give me some hepatitis or some disease. No one wants to suffer. But it's the nature, threefold miseries, adi-atmic, adi-daivic, adi-bodhic, that we have to suffer in so many ways. So the only cure for the suffering and fallen conditioned souls in this age is by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So no one can know Krishna, but only by devotional service can one know Krishna. Bhakti-yoga Jananti. But if one gets the association of pure devotee and reads the book Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, then you get some understanding of who Krishna is, and you get a taste. Here it says, in the next verse, Padu Padu, Pade Pade, Arjuna is saying he never satiated by hearing this message. And the great sages at Namasharanya, in the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, they also said the same thing. They said, we never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of God, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who develop a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing his pastimes at every moment. Paramjiswar Nivartante. So by taking the Krishna consciousness, by the mercy of the Guru, by following the principles strictly, then everything becomes joyful. This Krishna consciousness is a joyful movement. Goloke Premadana Harinam Sankirtan, that the holy name has been transported from the spiritual world. It's not a material sound vibration. You can chant someone's name, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, for 5 or 10 minutes, but then you'll get tired of it. But we can chant Hare Krishna all day long and never get tired of it. And we can read Prabhupada's books every day and never get tired of it, because it's a different nature. It's not in the modes of passion, goodness, passion, ignorance. It's in transcendental nature. So something transcendental above the modes of nature is always pleasing to the ear. So we taste the nectar of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya, by tasting it through the ear, not with the tongue, but through the ear. And Rupa Goswami says that he wished he had millions of ears and millions of tongues so that he could chant the holy name and taste the nectar. The nectar is there in the holy name, but because we're under the influence of the mode of ignorance of vidya, it's like jaundice. To a jaundiced patient, sugar tastes bitter, but sugar is always sweet. But if we take sugar candy, which is sweet, then gradually the jaundice goes away and the sugar candy becomes sweet. So our vidya, our taste for the holy name may not be there in the beginning, but if we keep chanting, then we'll rise to the mode of goodness and pure goodness, and we'll have a taste for the holy name. Then every day we'll look forward to chanting our 60 rounds. We'll look forward to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll look forward to doing some service. We'll feel our whole day will be very pleasing and happy. We won't be any moroseness. Everyone else in the material world, they're morose. But when they come to the temple and they hear the kirtan and we get them to dance with us even for a few minutes, they get freed from their moroseness. They feel happy. And they get an experience that they don't forget. So they keep coming back until they hear the philosophy and surrender. So everybody has to surrender to Krishna in the one time. That's the last instruction in Bhagavad-Gita. Saradhara Vishkata Mamikam Saranamja Ham Tam Sabapamemo Moksha Shami Masuchaha. Just surrender unto me, I'll protect you from all sinful activities, do not fear. So our time is up. Any comments or questions? We have a microphone.
Yes, in the Bible to text 18, Prabhupada quotes the Sutra Swami, the question made to Sutra Swami by the rishis of Nani Saranya and Vaishnava. And at the end of that paragraph, Prabhupada writes,
Speak in the microphone.
thus Arjuna is interested in hearing about Krishna, and specifically how he remains as the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Now, in the previous verses, Arjuna is asking how he can remember Krishna, so it's from his point of view. But in this particular sentence, he's saying, how can Krishna remain as the all-pervading Supreme Lord? Can you comment on that, please?
I think it's self-explanatory. Because Krishna is transcendental, so his opulences are also never diminish. When you see the sun, you remember Krishna is the source of the sun. Bhagavad said even if a drunkard says that, can you remember that Krishna is the taste of liquor? He's remembering Krishna. So Krishna's opulences are always all-pervading and never diminish. But I only spoke on 17. You have a question? No? Alright, Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Your comment? I'll make it.
You are speaking that sugar nature is sweet, but if you have jaundice, then you don't need a taste. You don't need a taste of the sugar when you have jaundice. So, but still, if you keep on taking the sugar, the jaundice will go away or it will still remain.
With sugar candy is a cure for jaundice. Yeah, so if you go on taking sugar candy, then your jaundice will go away. And it will be bitter at the beginning, but then the sweet taste will be revived. You never had jaundice? You had jaundice? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premananda.